The reason why so many marriages do not work out is because people are not doing the engagement process the way that they should. When you decide that you want to become engaged to someone, that is the time that you are really needing to be intentional about being diligent of going into discovery mode like lawyers do, right? This is the time for you to go into discovery mode. Okay, the trial has been set. We need to now go into discovery mode and gather evidence. What is the evidence that you're gathering? The evidence that you're gathering is whether or not you two are in alignment with each other, whether or not you are truly compatible with each other in all areas, because marriage is going to magnify by 1,000% the issues that are there. Whether or not this is somebody who 10 years, 20 years down the road, you can see yourself growing together, because who you are today is not going to be the same people 10 years, 20 years from now, right? And so there are certain things that you can do to set yourself up for marriage success or relationship success. The first thing that I strongly recommend is investing in professional relationship coaching or counseling. Prioritize your relationship by investing in the success of it. It's important to, have a safe and secure space with someone who can help to bring out the things that really need to be talked about and really need to be addressed within marriages, because you're bringing your baggage, they're bringing their baggage. And if you don't know how to deconstruct a lot of the things that are there, what's going to happen is you're going to have a lot of constructed issues within the relationship. And unfortunately, too many people discover these issues on the other side of saying I do. And it makes for a very strained relationship, right? A lot of people ask the question, why did I get married? Shout out to Tyler Perry, right? You don't want to be in the marriage and asking, why did I get married? On the front end, you want to be asking the question, is this the marriage? Is this the person? Is this the relationship that I need to be getting into long term? And if you invest in professional coaching or counseling, you're going to be guided by someone who can help you to see the things that you're not able to see. Because remember now, you're coming on the other side of the fluff. And one of the things that I'm discovering is a lot of people are, they're getting engaged really quickly after entering into the relationship, and they're not giving themselves enough time to really get to know the person who they are preparing to say I do to. A skilled professional can help you to navigate your challenges, can support you in enhancing your emotional connection, and also is able to show you how to establish a solid foundation for a lasting marriage or partnership. The second thing that you need to learn how to do, and this is an issue in so many relationships, is you have to learn how to foster open communication. And communication is a dialogue between two people. It's not one person sitting down and listening to the other person talk, or one person sitting down and pretending as if they're listening to the other person talk. Conversation, communication needs to be conscious, and it needs to be two ways. And communication and conversation is not just about talking. It's also about listening. And it's about making sure that you're clear in your communication, because communication is 95% what the person hears you to say. And the unfortunate thing is we hear through our shit, through our shame, through our hurt, through our insecurities, through our triggers, right? We hear through past pain. And this is why a lot of people get triggered in relationships, because they have not been emotionally healed on the other side of past pain and past disappointment. And so understanding how to establish a really open line of communication with your partner is so key. And when I talk about an open line of communication, I am talking about creating a safe space where you can talk about anything. You can talk about the things that feel good, and you can talk about the things that don't feel good. Because one of the things you do not want to do in your relationship, or in the communication part of your relationship, is be very judgmental and criticizing and condemning. Because if someone feels like they're going to be judged or criticized or condemned for speaking out how they feel, they are going to shut down and they're not going to say anything. The third thing that you need in order to have a successful relationship, marriage, partnership is to have a strong sense of connection where emotional intimacy can be experienced by both people. Intimacy is not just about sex. Intimacy is really just exposing yourself. Intimacy is like being vulnerable, where you're really getting naked. You have to get naked in order to be really deep and intimate, right? And I'm not just talking about physical nakedness. So if you're connecting with someone who you don't feel safe with, if you don't feel like you can be open with that person to be really, really expressive in the deep aspects of who you are, then that's not a person who you need to be saying I do to. And again, we all have our stuff. Each one of us have experienced pain, disappointment, heartache, heartbreak, grief, upset. And most of it has come through relationships, right? And if you are not healed, it's going to be very difficult for you to be able to foster an emotional, intimate, deep connection with another person. And so all of that stuff needs to be healed. All of that stuff needs to be addressed before you actually say, I do. And so all of this needs to come up in the engagement process. By fostering emotional intimacy, what you do is you give yourself the opportunity to build a resilient partnership that can weather life's challenges. You have to be able to come together when things are not good, as well as when things are good. And listen, if there is not mutual respect and empathy in the relationship, this is not a relationship that needs to go down the aisle in front of someone where you say, I do. Because respect and empathy are essential for a harmonious marriage. Notice I said for a harmonious marriage, okay? And the thing is, if this is a person who you find it hard to partner up with, to walk alongside, to trust their sensibility, to trust their guidance, to trust their leadership, then you're not going to have a healthy, successful marriage partnership. You have to learn how to treat each other with kindness and consideration, even in the midst of disagreements. I'm a firm believer that because we don't agree does not mean that we need to argue. And shouting at each other and calling people out of their names or getting really loud and in people's face, that is not cultivating a condition of mutual respect. Empathy supports you in putting yourself in your partner's shoes to understand their perspective and feelings. If you're in a relationship and it's all about debate, one person is always trying to prove the other person wrong, or one person is always trying to be right, this is not a relationship that is going to last. This is not a relationship that is going to be harmonious. This is not a relationship that is going to be happy. So again, the engagement process is the period to be able to cultivate all of this stuff. The engagement process is the time of making sure that you secure a sure, solid foundation for your marriage. When you are able to practice mutual respect and empathy, what you're doing is you're fostering a sense of teamwork and cooperation. We are coming together in this relationship. We are coming together to do life. We are coming together to be successful. We are coming together in partnership. If you don't feel like you are together, then the engagement process is the time when you can figure out whether or not you can get together or whether or not you need to just end this relationship. And you have to be able to discuss your individual and your shared expectations for the marriage. What do you require in a relationship? What are you looking to experience in a relationship? What is it that you truly desire? What is absolutely necessary for you to be able to have and cultivate with another person? You need to identify all of this stuff in the engagement process, because again, the period of courting is when the representative comes out. It's when all the fluff is there. Everything is easy breezy, beautiful cover girl. The engagement time is the time to get serious about whether or not this is the relationship that we need to be entering into permanently. So discuss your shared expectations, discuss your goals, be open about your dreams and aspirations, because two cannot walk together unless they be agreed. If you desire one thing to the left, to the right, and your partner desires another thing to the left, you guys are walking in two completely different opposites. You are not coming together. You're in opposite directions. You're not coming together. You're in opposite directions. You're not coming together. The time of engagement is the time to ascertain whether or not you have shared goals, whether or not you have shared aspirations, whether or not you have shared dreams. You might be getting married to somebody who their dream and their aspiration is for, if you're a woman, for their wife to be a stay-at-home mom, but you're a professional. You desire to go to college and get your master's degree and get your doctorate degree, or you desire to travel for your job as a flight attendant, right? You have to be able to understand whether or not you are on the same page, whether this is going to be a workable relationship or this is going to be a relationship of constant division. You have to see if it's possible for you to set shared goals. So you might have a goal, they might have a goal, but now is the time for you to see whether or not you can set shared goals, whether they're related to career, family, or personal growth, right? It's important. This all happens during the engagement process. You have to understand whether or not this partnership can be strong, whether this partnership can have purpose, whether this partnership can stand the test of time, because nobody gets married to get divorced. So make sure that you figure that out on the front end, and you do that during the engagement process. Building a successful relationship is an ongoing journey. But if you're going to commit to marriage, you want to start that process prior to getting married to each other. The journey requires effort. The journey requires patience, and the journey requires understanding. Are you connected with somebody with whom you can experience all of these things within the confines of a strong, beautiful, connected, respectful, loving, healthy, and happy relationship? By prioritizing these steps that I have discussed with you today, what you're doing is you're laying the groundwork for a joyful and enduring partnership. If you recognize that you need some support in establishing your relationship, in building a strong foundation, or maybe just strengthening what you currently have because you're having problems getting into these spaces with each other, whether it be communication, whether it be intimacy, whether it be respect and empathy, whether it be your expectations and your goals, then I want to invite you to go to the link in the description box and schedule a call to speak with me. Because if you don't invest in it, you cannot get a return from it. If you don't water it or feed it, it is going to starve. If you don't make it a priority, you're not giving it what it needs to be healthy, to be whole, and to be successful.